to the CTN YouTube page. It is your boy, The Real AE. Today's conversation is going to be about personal development. And just not in a way that you think about it. So let's break some things down. Personal development has been a word that's all over social media. A lot of people love to use it, especially entrepreneurs, life coaches, wealth coaches, financial advisors, etc. Right? And so personal development was this new concept that I started to realize back in 2020. When COVID first hit and we were forced to be inside our homes, there was not an opportunity for us to really go outside, or either not even in that factor, right? They were able to go out. Now, people couldn't go outside. People could not go interact with humans. And so now we were forced to interact with ourselves. And because we were forced to interact with ourselves, a lot of us didn't even know how to deal with our thoughts, our feelings, and even our own children. Like, I even saw articles, which was absolutely bananas to me, that people were literally complaining that they could not control their kids. And I thought that was absolutely bizarre. Like, they're your children. But think about it. You were so used to sending your kids 8 hours to an institution, which is called school, to learn from somebody else, right? But we're not going to get into that. But today, we're going to talk about personal development. So I got my iPad here, and I want to read to you guys the definition of personal development, because I believe that now personal development has become it's almost like a popularity contest where, who's developing the most? Who's doing more than the other person? And I thought to myself, like, that is just completely weird. Like, why should we compete for how well we're developing as people? And so this is where I want to break this down. So I got my iPad here. Let's look at the definition of personal development. I'm going to pop it up here on the screen so you guys can read it. It says personal development or self-improvement consists of activities that develop a person's capabilities and potential, build human capital, facilitate employability, and enhance quality of life, and the realization of dreams and aspirations. Like, that is a long definition. So let's break it down piece by piece. Personal development or self-improvement consists of activities, and let's stop right there. What it's saying is that there are certain actions that is needed to be taken to become a better person. Now, what kind of activities should we be doing to develop what qualities? It says right here, develop a person's capabilities and potential. Stop right there. Developing a person's capability and potential. Now, what are we building? We building human capital, aka our self-worth. We're building our self-worth, right? Because we're valuable. We as people, me and you, watching this video, we are valuable people. We're valuable to this planet. We're priceless, or however they want to say it, right? But we're valuable to a lot of people in this world. So we're building our value. Facilitate employability. This is if you're, in the world of 9-to-5 jobs, if you're trying to get yourself a better career. And then enhance quality of life, so how we live, and the realization of dreams and aspirations, right? This is probably your manifestations and your affirmations. So how would you want to explore personal development? How would I break this down? I would say personal development is where a singular person develops the skills and the attributes and the dreams and aspirations to become a better version of themselves and increase their value in life. And that's just another way I want to look at it. So why do I say that personal development has been this popularity contest? Because when I scroll through TikTok myself, there is a big wave of, how people cook their food, the aesthetics of their home, which I obviously, truth be told, I love that. But there's a whole world of people that don't need that. And this is where personal development is very different for every kind of person. For example, I don't need to see a clean room or an aesthetically built room or a perfectly clean spot for me to be inspired. Like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. Like, that's not me. I'm a person who's mobile. I'm active. I'm always on the move. I want to do things. I want to be outside. So maybe my level of engagement or interaction or how I want to develop is how do I want to communicate to the world? How do I want to present myself as this better version of Aaron when I go outside and I interact with people? So maybe there's certain skills that I need to develop. So one of the biggest things that I always say for people, if you're looking to personal development, is don't look for social media to be your main resource into fixing who you are. Or not fixing, but Don't make that your main source. That's a great space to find inspiration or ideas to kick off the creativity in your mind, but then it's going to take you getting off of that dopamine, or how would you want to look at it for social media, instead of that feed. I want you to get off of that, and then you need to work in your own creative mind. And so this is where personal development, I think personal development is not as successful if you don't understand consciousness, right? So on my iPad here, I'm pulling up a consciousness chart. And you guys are gonna be able to see that here. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you guys to take a look at it. So you just wanna just listen to my voice, right? So as you guys are looking at this consciousness chart, you can see that there's different levels that everybody's able to operate on. And at the top, you guys can see this is called the map of consciousness. You guys can see there's many different colors like the rainbow. Over to the left-hand side, you guys can see the words power and force, okay? Then you will see these different columns. When you're looking at this chart, you see God view, life view, level, scale, emotion, and process. So I want to break down how all this works. So here's how this whole thing works. When you're looking to personal develop, you need to understand where you are first. First and foremost, you need to know how you are. You need to figure that out first. Before we start going on social media and we start scrolling and looking for ideas, I think it is in your best interest to recognize where you are. So let's pull up the chart again and let's figure this out. So the way you want to use this chart to help you out, and this is how I helped myself out, was I first looked at my emotions. My emotions, all right, and how I view life. Those two different columns. So if you're a person who has the emotion of, man, I hate where I'm at, I hate my life, I hate these things, I hate my family, I hate my stuff, okay, you know that you're in this hate level of emotion. Now, this is where you want to start asking yourself questions, okay? Do I have a vengeful mindset towards other people? Am I looking to get revenge on somebody? When you're looking at this chart again, look at antagonistic, right? Do I have my view of life in this antagonizing way? Am I looking at something? I look like the villain. Like everything I touch breaks down. Everybody I talk to doesn't want to talk to me, right? For example, maybe I'm mad at the world. I'm angry because I didn't get that favorite job. I'm angry because I can't lose weight. I'm angry because X, Y, and Z. And then how do I process reality? Do I look at it through an aggressive standpoint? Now that's just an example of somebody's at that, and maybe some of us are in these different points. But the best thing about personal development is when you start in those areas, when you start asking yourself true questions, use the chart as a reference. Don't use the chart to scare you. But you will want to use the chart as a reference to you can get an idea of where you stand, right? Where you stand is very directly reflected upon what you watch, what you eat, and who you hang around. Because if you don't know where you are, then you don't know who in your circle is tearing you down. You're not able to fully recognize who's there to use you for an advantage. You're not fully there to recognize who's trying to harm you. Or maybe that the environment that you're in is not good. Or maybe, and this is my perspective, maybe you're developing towards a person that somebody else placed upon you. So how do we figure this out? So let's look at this chart. And let's say we're in a lot of affirmations and manifestation really operates within the yellow zone. If you guys look at the chart, affirmations right there, emotions. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have. I want to become a millionaire. I claim that this. I claim, I want, I claim, I this. I want, I desire, this. That really operates in this yellow kind of zone. Because now you understand that my goals are feasible. That means I can go physically and tangibly go out there and go achieve my goals. I'm permitting God or religion or whoever you believe in access into my life to guide me through these things. I have the courage to go out there and do them. And I feel empowered when I gain success. So for a lot of us, affirmations and manifestation works because we're operating in this yellow zone. But why? But think about it like this. If I'm not operating in that yellow zone, then maybe affirmations, I don't need affirmations right now. So let's put it in this perspective, right? So think about motivational speakers. Let's say Eric Thomas and Inky Johnson, probably two of the most, or Tony Robbins, for example. These kind of motivational speakers, or even TD Jakes, shout out to TD Jakes, right? Or Les Brown. I'm just gonna name some. You guys probably know what these names are. When you look at these motivational speakers, they all have a different energy about them. So maybe there's a reason why a lot of athletes relate to Eric Thomas but not TD Jakes. Majority. Now, why is that? Because when you look at the chart, many athletes, especially of African American descent, or they live in poverty-stricken neighborhoods, they just hate the fact that they live there. They hate the fact that they're there. They view the world as a disappointment. They're always mad at the police or the way that their mama's living. So if I go into an athlete saying, hey man, I need you to be happy and grateful. I need you to write down these affirmations. Do you think that's going to lay an impact on that gentleman or that woman at that time? No. They might need an Eric Thomas to give them that fuel, that fire, a David Goggins to tell them to get your behind up. Hustle in the gym. Your mama's broke. You need to hustle. You need to grind. Maybe this is where a lot of rappers come from, right? That energy, they emit that we come out the hood. We're coming out of struggle. Gangsters, you know what I'm saying? That energy is relatable, so maybe their affirmations cannot relate at that time because they're not operating on that frequency of consciousness. Their consciousness could be, I hate the world. I'm craving money. I regret not doing certain things. I'm disappointed in I'm disappointed that my mom is in this situation. So maybe I don't need you to come up to me and tell me that to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. I don't need that right now. I might need that David Goggins or that Eric Thomas to get on my behind. Be like, yo, get your behind up, get to the field and hustle and grind. And that will relate to them in that certain frequency because they're in that level of consciousness in their mind. Hope that makes sense. So if we as leaders, or myself as an entrepreneur, when I'm trying to help people, I need to understand how they view themselves. Because that's number one. How do you view you? Do you feel that you're not smart enough? Do you feel that you're not capable of success? And the reason why I do that is because I would need to be very careful on what kind of resources, books, podcasts, videos, or like in the definition, certain activities. I need to be very careful of what things I provide to that individual so they can grow and become a better person, because what I need to grow as a person is not going to be the same. This is where I bring the idea of social media should not be your only outlet to find resources. Because a lot of times the creators or the viral people, they live a completely different life than yours. And it's social media, guys. We're not going to always be 100% transparent, because we also feel a little bit defensive at times, and that's another discussion. But I want to break this down in a way that makes it make sense. So when we look at personal development, right, and consciousness, they all matter. Let's start with developing a person's capabilities. Another way you can say capabilities, guys, is gifts. What are you good at? Right? What are you good at? What can you do with your eyes closed? What is a talent? What is a feeling that you know that you're good at? Maybe it's the fact that you are a great listener. Maybe it's the fact that you're an amazing athlete. You're an expert musician. You're an artist. You can draw. You love anime. You're an enthusiast towards food or anime or television. Because you're good at it. You memorize stories well. Maybe this is your step one. Recognize what you are capable at. Because now once you recognize what you're capable at, then you can find resources to develop your capabilities. And I want to explain it this way. Do you honestly believe that LeBron James, one of the best basketball players to ever play the game, is at the same level of consciousness in computers as Microsoft or Bill Gates or Elon Musk? No. But in the realm of basketball or his talent or his gift, he has a higher level of consciousness and awareness because that's the arena that he operates in. Many of us as people today are operating in arenas that do not feed your gifts. So then when you're trying to personal develop, you're personally developing in an arena that you don't belong in. Why, as you as an artist who loves to draw, are trying to personally develop as a business owner or a real estate developer? Because that's not your arena. And what happens, I see this with social media a lot, is because what's viral and what's trendy doesn't fit the arena that you're in. So then you get caught up in this thing like, oh my gosh, I need to start doing these things. I need to go to the gym. I need to But that advice that you just received may not fit the arena that you're trying to develop in. So what are some things you can do to develop your gifts in a certain arena using the consciousness that you're in? So number one, like I said, know where you are consciously. How do you view the world? How do you view yourself? That's one. Number two, what are your gifts? What are your gifts that you know that you're good at? What are your capabilities? All right. Now, number three is you need to do research on the top 1% of the field that you're trying to become the best in. So if you're an artist and you draw, I want you to research who are the top 1% of earners or the best or the most famous artists in your specific discipline. Because then what you do is now you can generate your content, you can generate your research, you can generate your beliefs, your affirmations based upon an example of someone who's at their highest level of consciousness in your field. So let's talk to some of my athletes, for example. If I'm looking to become a better basketball player, I don't need to be studying Jerry Rice or Ray Rice. They don't play basketball. They're the top 1% in football, not basketball. Yeah, the motivational videos are cool, and I want you to watch them. But maybe you need to look up who's the top 1% of basketball players. Find some motivational videos around Steph Curry, or LeBron James, or DeMar DeRozan, right? Or Michael Jordan, a John Stockton, a Steve Nash. And I want to give you an example on why this is important because I want to tell you a story. And you guys can do your research on this, but this was absolutely insane when I found this out. Steve Nash, for those who are good in basketball, know Steve Nash. Steve Nash played for a really long career. But he understood what it took to last that long. So what he did, and I might be naming the player wrong, but y'all can tell me in the comments. He hired a chiropractor to go to every game with him. Because he understood that his body is going to take a certain amount of toll, that I need a specialist to help me recover. So let's use Steve Nash as an example on how he nailed those steps. Number one, he knew who he was. He knew his body. He knew what his body needed to play the game at the highest level. So he knew himself. That was number one. Number two, he understood how he viewed the world. He understood his consciousness. Then he understood, okay, where am I trying to go? That's where he understood. He understood, where am I trying to go? Who can I look up to? I bet you he was studying other basketball players or other point guards. I'm not going to study a Shaq to play point guard. I'm going to find the best point guard and study them. Do you think Steve Nash read books? Absolutely. But maybe he wasn't just reading any book. Maybe he was reading books that point guard or the top 1% of point guards was reading. So then he can do what? He can duplicate their research. He understood his gifts. He's a point guard. So once he understood who he was and how his body operated physically, he knew how he operated mentally, or based on that consciousness chart that I showed you guys. He knew where he was. Then he understood his gifts. Now when he's doing research on how to become a better point guard, he knows exactly what he needs to be looking for. And he's not worried about everybody else. And that's how we as people can get to these higher levels of success or provide for our families. What if we just specialize exactly in the realm that we needed to be in? And we're not so worried about all the other different attributes everybody else is doing, because that's not your gift. I'm not gifted in getting ready with me's. And those are popular. I'm not gifted in making sure my iron sheets are flat. I'm a hype man. So I'm going to study other hype men. Because I like to do that. I love to give energy to everything I do. So I'm going to study people who give energy to everything I do, because I want to do the same thing. So do that for yourself. And what that did for me, it lowered my anxiety and it lowered my depression. Because now I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm not worried about when people are going to view me a different way because they're in different arenas than I'm in. So I'm able to take criticism easier, because that's the fourth thing you want to understand, is taking criticism. Criticism is very big in personal development. Because why? Because the people who are the top 1% in your arenas, if you are going to try to seek mentorship to people who are the best of the best, you need to be able to take the criticism from those people. And what made criticism accepting for me so easy is because I was only taking criticism from people in the arena that I was trying to become the top 1% in. Now, I want to be very clear. It's not like I didn't take advice from everybody else. Family, friends, people. I listened, and I took that wholeheartedly. I said, okay, I see your perspective. And what's so good about criticism is because all criticism is a perspective. It's all just a perspective. The person is giving a perspective of what they see in you from their eyes. They see you doing such actions, and they're going to give you some kind of direction. So when people are providing perspectives or criticism from different arenas that you are not a part of, I'm not going to take that and say, psh, you don't know what you're saying. I did that before. You're not just going to go, psh, I know what you're saying. Psh, I don't know what this is. No, I'm going to say, I appreciate your perspective. I'll take a deeper dive into it. And now I try to see it from what they're trying to see, because what they're trying to see is me. I can't see me. My eyes can't turn inside in and I can see myself. No, they're giving me their perspective of what I am, because that's how my actions are to them. So I take my criticism from somebody who's in the same arena as me. I take the perspectives of what everybody else around me is seeing, and now I can mold that into this image that I have in my mind. This is where affirmations and manifestations kick in. Now that I have a certain set of affirmations, and I've created a certain set of manifestations, and I've gathered my research or perspectives from the top 1% in my field, if you can ever get connected to them, of course, and then family and friends who are watching me grow, who truly love me and truly want me to succeed, now that gives me a sense of direction on how I can become a better person. I'll put it like this. This is where you want to start asking questions. Personal development is one of the biggest things. You want to start asking questions when you personal develop. So now you want to ask yourself, okay, man, why would Sally tell me that I'm not a good listener? Why would that? Hey, why would maybe I need to work on my style a little bit. I need to work on my personal upkeep. Why would I need to do that? So I take those perspectives or those ideas that people give me, and then I do my research. I look right in my avenue. So this is where you can use discernment to figure out how you're going to want to develop. So let's say my best friend comes in and he says, Aaron, you don't look good on camera. And I can immediately go, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But okay, I say, appreciate that, bro. I'll take a look into it. Then I go study somebody else in my field. And I look at, let's say, for example, let's say you want to be a motivational speaker, and I look at Eric Thomas. In every one of his videos, the quality is good. He wears certain clothes that are good. He looks nice. But maybe I don't want to dress like Eric Thomas. Maybe I want to dress like Jordan Peterson, or 19 Keys. That's who I study. What does he wear? How is his clothes? They're ironed. How does he speak? He speaks very well. His face is clear. His teeth are brushed. So like I was saying, 19 Keys, somebody I look into. Like I said before, you study what they wear. How do they present themselves? What kind of subjects are they speaking on? How do they get there? What books they kind of read? Because then at that point for me, I can understand, okay, this is what the top 1% in my field or my gifts or my capabilities are operating in. Now I can read certain books. Now I can go watch certain YouTubes or certain podcasts or follow certain social media pages that feed directly into the gift that I'm trying to become the best at in. That is how I become better. That's how personal development should really be. All right, so let's break this whole thing down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's break this down again. I believe that personal development has become a popularity contest. It's not about truly helping people anymore. It's about who can do it the flashiest, who's got the best aesthetic. Now, I'm not knocking those creators, but that's just what I see from my view. So I had to stop following that. So the best way for you to personal develop, let's read the definition one more time of personal development. All right, I got my iPad here, 1 second. The personal development, right, is the self-improvement. It consists of activities that develop a person's capabilities, potential, building human capital, facilitate employability, and enhance the quality of life and the realizations of dreams and aspirations. Right? You got to do certain activities. And then you use the consciousness chart that I showed you guys as a proving point or a starting point, not a proving point. Use it as a starting point. Where now understand where am I stand? How do I view myself and how do I view the world? Because now I understand how I view myself, how I view the world on this chart can give me a starting point onto what kind of information I need to feed myself to get further and farther in life. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and think about subscribing. Follow me on social media platforms. I love you guys so much. This was the Certified Traders Network YouTube. It's your boy, The Real AE. This was Personal Development in Consciousness, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.